are the fundamental requirements of virtue: moral knowledge and prudence. For the practice of virtue, continuously. For the practice of virtue, it is further imperative to apply. It is further imperative to apply the demands of the moral value. The demands of the moral value rightly to the concrete situation. To apply the demands of the moral value rightly to the concrete situation. This is the task of prudence. This is the task of prudence. Prudence disposes a man to discern correctly what measures one must take to realize the exigencies of a virtue, as well as possible in the concrete circumstances. Prudence is concerned with the means proportionate to the end. Prudence is concerned with the means proportionate to the end. As St. Thomas says, prudence is not to be regarded as one virtue besides many others, but it is an integral element in the structure of every virtue. Earlier we have said primacy of charity takes the primacy among the virtues. But prudence is not a one virtue. It is inherent for every virtue. Why it is inherent? It is the personal gift, personal involvement, personal decision. When to act, when not to act. What to say and what not to say. And how much to say. So that is corresponding to the situation. That's why I said it is a virtue as well as possible in concrete circumstances. So concrete circumstances decides what is correct. Like for example, if say driving, we cannot learn by driving for angles. After 50 meter right angle, after 7 meters left angle, after 50 meter again 90 angle. That's why the driver has to be always alert. Even the clean road is there, driver cannot take for granted, take a nap. Then it goes. No. So every minute and every instance, every situation, its response is required. So also making a decision, prudence is the personal capacity that allows how to respond to the personal situation. The formation and cultivation of prudence requires the formation and cultivation of prudence requires, first of all, acquisition of practical knowledge. Acquisition of practical knowledge, which is gained by the study of history, which is gained by the study of history, and concrete situation. Study of history and concrete situation, and obtained from the lessons of personal experience. Obtained from the lessons of personal experience. Furthermore, a man must learn to look carefully into the concrete circumstances, to appreciate the importance of cautious deliberation, and above all, to accept advice. So, our formation and cultivation of prudence depends on two things. One is our acquired knowledge, then other one is personal experience. So, this both. Sometimes we may have a deposit of knowledge, but when we put to practically, it is not useful. That's why sometimes we say so many funny things happen in life. Some of the jokes, some of the funny comments come, no? Improper response is given to improper dialogue. So, a proper dialogue, proper correspondence to the response will be valid. So that's why too much knowledge, but in practice it comes. Like we have a traditional way of saying, Paramananda Sishya. So they do what is said, but what the next they do not know. They do not know what is the next, how to correspond. So what is said they will obey, but response not given. So that's why our gift of prudence also takes into consideration personal experience of the now. Sometimes again it happened there, it need not happen now. So that's called as a personal quality, personal involvement of the situation comes. That's a gift of prudence. That's a virtue. And depending on personal wisdom, that's called personal wisdom. So this prudence also varies person to person. Even all of us may attend the same classes, all of us may live in the same situation, and all of us may have same background, but some people differently respond, differently imbibe, differently develop the virtue of prudence. That's why some are appreciated, some are scolded, some are promoted, some are depromoted. because of varying of this personal involvement or personal development of prudence. Second point, we see love of moral value. Love of moral value. There is a profound difference between the conceptual knowledge of the moral good and effectual love for the moral value. Conceptual knowledge of the moral good and effectual love for the moral value. The abstract cognition of something is good. The abstract cognition of something is good, and the perception of the intrinsic reason that is why it is good, intrinsic reason why it is good, we know why it is good, does not arouse personal enthusiasm. The beauty and goodness of the moral value, must be deeply sensed and truly loved. If a virtue to develop. This existential awareness and active love of a moral value is much more decisive for the formation of virtue, than the clear conceptual comprehension of moral good. This existential awareness is active, love of a moral value is much more decisive for the formation of virtue than the clear conceptual comprehension of the moral good. For example, a simple peasant, farmer, with his simple understanding, but deep love of God and of good, may possess the virtue of a saint. While while the learned while the learned's theoretic moral knowledge is by no means the guarantee of a virtuous holy life. By no means the guarantee of a virtuous holy life. Here we have to see the difference between having knowledge one thing and having a love for a value. Love for value is more important than having knowledge. That's why example you can see like a player and a coach. Coach knows everything. Systematically, theoretically and historically, but actual coach is not able to play in the ground. He is able to guide, give directions, but not able to play like a player. Whereas the player is in the situation. He is with opponents, and it depends on his personal abilities and personal motivation. All that counts. So that's why we need to have that love for value is more important than our knowledge. Especially when we think of our spiritual life of holiness, the degrees will not guarantee, our education will not guarantee holiness. What is important for holiness is love of God and love of good. That's why most of the saints or good people, even if I don't do good, because of me no one should suffer. Cautiously we have to do good, but sometimes if you are not able to do, but don't do harm. By not doing harm itself is a great virtuous life. Positively we will not do good, but actively if you can stop doing bad, that itself is a great blessing. That's a virtuous life. So that's why even in the modern society, as education is going on, or many tricks are learned, many is one. That's why now it is seen as education sometimes spoils the goodness. Educated people know many tricks. Simple people, they take for granted and they obey, they believe. And they depend on God's grace. And they also respond with generosity. They want to do some good what is within their capacity. So that's the secret of life of holiness. So we need to have not only be a knowledge. Now more than knowledge, if you don't have knowledge also, your love for value, I want to be good, I want to do some good. Sometimes it happens. Good intentions are there, sometimes bad results may be there. For that, we are not culpable because your intention is good. Outcome may be bad. So, our knowledge itself cannot guarantee a life of holiness. Because we are speaking of virtuous life means holy life. Not how many degrees we are getting or how many marks we are going to get. That is not our goal. Virtuous life, virtues are more important. That speaks of our style of life. Okay. Third point, we see dominion over passions. Dominion over passions. Dominion over passions. Traditional theology stresses the repetition of virtuous acts. The repetition of virtuous acts as the means in living good life, as the characteristic of the habit of virtue. Knowledge and love of value are certainly most essential conditions for the acquisition of virtue. But the realization of moral value can still be impaired by insufficiently controlled passions. They can even suffocate the very love for virtue. Hence, virtue presupposes dominion over the passions. And this dominion is to be acquired by repeated practice of moderating. Restraint or active engagement. So in this point, third point, we are speaking about the fundamental requirements. First we saw moral knowledge, and second we have seen love for moral value, and the third one is very important, that is our passions. What do you understand by passion? Strong human desires, instincts, our likings. Naturally we like, whether good or bad is afterwards. This. So moral knowledge and moral love for moral value helps us to how to distinguish which is good, which is to be little modified. Yeah. So that's why it's called self-discipline. Self-discipline over passions. The bodily inclinations. Passion means the bodily inclinations. So unless we do this job, this homework, other two will not work. That's why one of the threat to our virtuous life and holy life is this passions take their own route, and our reason and will take their own route, and these two routes cannot be merged. So style of life is one, style of understanding is other. But our virtuous life, this control over passions or dominion over passions is a must, a first requirement. That's why even you don't have that moral knowledge or prudence or love for moral value, if you have these passions are controlled, is a virtuous life. So this dominion, either way, positively we have to do certain things like regular habit of improving our personal qualities, regular exercise, repetition is a positive way. Other one negatively means we have some regulations, no, do not. Other one is do. Yeah. So both way, some we have to do consciously and continuously, some continuously and consciously not to do. If you want to live a virtuous life, it is a constant self-control, self-discipline, and that is what the foundation for moral virtuous life. Dominion over passions does not constitute the essence of virtue. Dominion over passions does not constitute the essence of virtue. The essence of virtue consists in love for the true values. Which is the most decisive element. A person who adheres to this love is basically good. Although not yet virtuous, if he should still lack much in the control of the passions, On the other hand, a sincere love for virtue will always keep trying to gain mastery over the passions. So it's like saying, to have a good crop, first we need to clean up the ground. If you want good cultivation and good fruits, you have to do spade work first, clearing the ground. Then only you can put something. So also passions to be controlled first for a virtuous life. So we are not saying passions is the center of virtuous life. No, it's only preparing the ground. So once the ground is prepared, a good cultivation can be done and good fruits also can be reaped.